finally the beginning of my technical weekend. So today, the goal is going to be to get the car out of the garage, get the brake pressure washed, and I guess get this thing ready to be thrown in. I mean, I think realistically right now it is. I've gotten everything on it. So here's a little update. I never really talked about what I've done to this so far. New valve covers are on, wrinkle black. They don't come out like perfect, but I guess it's just the way the wrinkle black comes out. I'm sure I could have done it better, but it is what it is. From afar, they look really good, and they're gonna look way better than the red inside the engine bay. Put my new spark plugs and coil packs in them. These have under like 2,000 miles on them. These are very new because I did them really recently. New camshaft sensors are in. Also did those pretty recently. The solid engine mounts are on. I got the oil filter on, just the sandwich plate so that nothing goes into the filter housing at all. This power steering line's on, exhaust is on, well, the headers. I wish they were aftermarket, but it is what it is. These are what I was running before, no issue. I'm trying to think of what else on here. Just little stuff, really. I mean, I got a lot of little stuff done on the engine, so it's actually pretty assembled right now. The goal, like, ideally, if everything goes to plan, to have this in that car. Maybe not, like, none of the bell housing bolts in, not even, like, the engine mounts bolted in, but the engine sat in, connected to the trans. I realize now I need to put the clutch on for that, which I could probably do. I mean, it's still pretty early-ish. I mean, not really, it's 12, so we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I guess that's the main goal today. Get the car out, get it painted, or not painted, get it washed, and then clean up all this garbage here. Swap these two. This engine will be going on this stand, and this engine will be going on the hoist, so I could actually get it thrown in there. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Not through the new flywheel on right now.
Tamron. The hell? That's autofocus? I just saw that.
Concept Z flywheel, whenever you put these on the car, the VQs get crank signal off of the flywheel. So you have to line this up with the dowel, otherwise your car will not start or run. So it's this little pinhole here, well, right there, and then it lines up with the little dowel and the crank. So just make sure you do that if you guys are following along at all. My cabinet's having storage problems right now, so I can't really film on that, unfortunately, but here's the phone. New engine, has the clutch flywheel on with the new ARP hardware and the lightweight Concept Z flywheel. I'm trying to sort of degrease this side of the engine because this side's oily. It had an oil leak before on the valve covers, so the oil went the whole way down. So I'm going to try and degrease a bit. Right now I'm trying to clean up back here, make some more space. We'll throw this old engine. This is the engine that came out of the Z. It's now on the stand. So this will sit in the corner, and then this will just be rolled back. I'll try and get the Z back in. And then once the Z's in here, we can start on putting the engine back in the car. Once it's in the car, I will probably start settling like where the harness and stuff goes, probably hook up stuff like power steering, and then we will hook up bell housing bolts and engine mount bolts and stuff like that. But yeah, right now, not too bad. I don't know if I already said this, but the Z bay is pretty clean. This was all black before. It's clean now, nice and degreased. Pressure wash, trans is good too. This is just drying, but yeah, all this is pretty clean. This is all clean too. I need a new line for this, unfortunately, but I'm not going to put a new one in it until I get the engine in, because I don't want to bend the new one putting the new engine in it. Engine's pretty much it's as assembled as it can be out of the car, so it's going to be really annoying to do like this charge cable for the alternator and the oil cooler lines in the car, so I went ahead and did this out of the car because these can be on it. They're not in the way because they're towards the front and off and like tucked in, so they're not going to get in the way of anything. So this thing's ready to be thrown in. What I'm going to do is try to get the car pushed in right now. A couple of my homies are here, and once it's pushed in here, goal is to get that dropped back into the car. I'm going to have to lower it a bit. Stop getting them splines, dog. Flashlight. This is a little update on the car. Engine's in, mounts are in, bell housing bolts are in, wiring harness is laid over, nothing's connected yet. It's just sitting on top of it. What I'm probably going to do now is I want to clean this lower manifold, lower intake plenum, to use this plenum instead of this plenum just because that one is cleaner. This one's just dirty because the guy, whoever owned the car, didn't really rage on it like I did. That one's all clean because all the fuel going through it. So I'll probably swap that one onto here, get the fuel rail on, because this engine doesn't need to come out again. You can't really have the fuel rail on it when you're pulling the engine, because you have to use these lower bolts here, and the fuel rail just gets in the way. So now I'll probably hook up the fuel rail and get the injector sorted, and then, after that, I guess I'll just focus on the wiring aspect of this thing. Alright, so finally got my camera situated, so hopefully I can actually film without it running out of storage here. Let me squeeze through. Z has an engine in it again, so this is the new VQ thrown in the car. Engine mounts are on, engine mounts are bolted in. Majority of the bell housing bolts are bolted in, starter's bolted in. I need to do the wiring under the car and test pipes under the car. Also that power steering line I was talking about, I was going to kind of just try and leave it, but it is very pinched. I'm not going to leave it anymore. But instead of replacing it before I put the engine in, where unfortunately it would have been way easier, I figured I'd put the engine in. That way I don't risk damaging the new one I just put in. So sometime today I need to go back to the junkyard and grab it. I just don't feel like going right now, so I'll probably end up going later. Here is, like I said, the car. Like I also said, mounts are in, bolted on. Now all I gotta do is wiring. So that temp sensor is hooked up. I've started to lay the harness here, bolt in all these coil packs. What I'm probably gonna do now is swap over the inner or the lower plenum, or not lower, the lower intake manifold. With that cleaner one, because I just had cleaned it out, I'll probably put that one in here and then get the injectors bolted in. And then once that is done, let me think here. Once that's done, probably just do more wiring, honestly. Just put the rest of the wiring harness together and then maybe start throwing on the front end of the car. All I need to do to get it started is do the oil cooler, radiator, and fill up the power steering. Because I don't want to start it with all that stuff out. At least the oil cooler, because I don't want to start it without it routed, and then I have to reroute it. So these lines are already set up for it. All I gotta do is put the cooler somewhere. I don't really need to bolt it on right now, but at least just get it on the vehicle. That way it can stay there, and the car can actually run. And then with this, I want to try and redo my catch can setup with this 90, or not that 90, this 90 here. So hopefully I can get the straight hose, maybe cut this, and then use this AM fitting instead on that side. That way I can use that 90 here to go down. But maybe I'll also leave it like this. I'm not too sure yet, but that's what we're gonna do today. So I've got the lower manifold off here, and now I can get a decent look at these valves. They're not, let me get a light. They're not that bad. I mean, the ones that came out of the Z are cleaner, but that makes sense just because I pushed that car way harder. So it's like way cleaner just from the fuel and the way I was driving the car. I'm sure it won't take long to clean these guys up and get them looking good. Hopefully compression's decent on them. I don't know. Like this oil on the valve seats is pretty wild, especially in the heads. Like look at that. That's crazy. I might actually try just cleaning them out with like a shop towel and get those as clean as I can. Because I did just clean that, so might as well clean those as well. That's what I'll get onto, because this is unreal. Alright, so another very long, distant update. Engine, I already talked about this. Engine's already in. I've found a couple problems at first when I installed these catch cans. This is completely unrelated to the swap, but it's part of what I'm doing right now. So basically it has two straight fittings like these that just go straight out. And with my setup, maybe, I don't know why exactly it was being a problem, but basically this would hit the strut bar really bad. To the point where I feel like it would start to rub through. And I happen to have one of these 90-degree barred push lock fittings because I was using it for the power steering cooler, but when I had it set up originally, it was on this side, so the 90 worked out well. When I moved it here, the 90 was a little weird. I had to loop the line down and up. So I used the straight fitting off that side, which is right there. It just goes straight, and then this is hitting the side bucket, but the bucket's actually curved. So it shouldn't rub through that. This keeps it way farther away from the wheel, and this is just for the power steering cooler here. When you come over to the catch can setup, the strut bar will not touch this at all because the hose goes down, and then it will go zip tied to this AC line and go straight to the back of the PCV here. Also routed this setup to this vent here, and now I'm going to probably throw the intake manifold on because the rails are on and all the wiring's in on this car right now. So last thing to put on is the intake manifold, and I wanted to do that before I put the whole front end on because I can walk up to it and have so much more space. So I think after that I will throw the radiator support on, get the AC lines hooked up again, and then I will hook up the coolant, probably fill up the water, and then set up the oil cooler, the new oil cooler setup somewhere, try to get it mounted. If I can't get it mounted, I'll just have it hooked up and hanging ready to be mounted, and then we could start this thing hopefully today. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to work on doing that, check on my grounds again, check everything, and make sure we're good to go. So far, intake manifold on the car, everything's torqued down, spacers on, intake manifold spacer. I reused the upper from my old setup and the lower from the new car because I cleaned out the newer and the upper, but I didn't really want to transfer over the throttle body and all that stuff. It's just annoying because it's a lot of little bolts. And this was pretty clean on top anyway, so I just cleaned it off. Like I said though, everything's torqued, all the harness is down. It's all bolted in how it should be. This is for the MAF, so this can chill here. This ended up working out really well. So as you see, the lines go all the way around. Here's one of the lines to the vacuum side, and then here's the side from the PCV side. Yeah, I mean, realistically now, engine's complete and it's in the car. So once I throw the radiator on, it's just filling it with fluids and starting it up. Really, already connected the starter. All that stuff's connected down there. Every housing bolt's on. The steering lines are tight. Wiring's all done. Sensors are hooked up. Every clip is clipped in. Like all these little sensor or harness clips, all clipped in, all ran how it should be. Fuel lines are on. Ooh, I gotta tighten that down. That's just a quick bolt. It's just this guy in there. So I'll go ahead and put that down to secure the fuel line here. And then after that, like I said, fill it up with fluids, roll it out, hook it up to a jumper because my battery's super dead in this thing. So I'll hook it up to my BMW and then crank it till oil pressure builds up. Once oil pressure builds up, then I will end up starting it and just making sure there's no leaks, making sure it even runs. Sucked it right down, oh my god. This right here is our new 34-row set trap cooler. So what I'm going to end up doing right now is actually pre-filling it. My goal with the car right now is to fill it up with oil and get the filter on it. It already has an oil filter on it, but I'm going to fill it up with oil fully, run it, and then probably like after it's done bleeding everything, I will end up changing out the oil for some new oil. I'm going to go with Valvoline 2050 VR1 in this car now. Tired of having oil issues, and I can get it at Walmart for the same cost as normal 5 quarts of oil. So that's what I'm going to do. But for right now, I'm just going to fill it with whatever leftover oil I have, which is going to be a mix of 540, which is what I used to use in the car, and then some 1030 that came with the G when I actually bought it. So I'm just going to pre-fill this oil cooler right now, get the lines on, and then put this up to the top, fill the car with water, and after that, it's basically ready to start up. Keep filling her up. So it doesn't take a full quart, and it just overflowed the top, which is just awesome. That's exactly what I wanted, was to spill oil everywhere. Aua! really gonna drink this whole gallon right now?
Mine drinks a gallon and a half.
Yeah, but I don't even like crack the bleeder yet. So now, I'm gonna bring my BMW over here, hook up jumper cables, probably fill up the coolant as much as I can, get it as bled as possible just sitting here. And then once the BMW's up here, pull a fuel pump fuse, crank it over for like however long it takes for oil pressure to actually build up. And once oil pressure is built, I will put the fuel pump fuse back in and just turn it on. Let it start, let it run, see, hopefully it works, everything goes to plan. I gotta hook up the intake real quick so the math actually reads how much air is coming in. Right now the intake's not hooked up. Then I also have to hook up the catch can line, and after that, it's literally just fluids. It should have enough oil to run fine and build oil pressure, and yeah, so we'll get it going.
You're not how that thing back.
About to hook up the jumper cables to this thing and get it cranking. Oil on it, bro. Not a problem, brother. About to go for my first drive in the Z with the new engine. I'm just going to drive it around the complex. It's not going to go anywhere far. It's literally around the complex, maybe shift a second. But everything's apart right now. It's having this really weird idle problem. So I want to try and diagnose that as best I can. See, that's kind of it. I cannot see shit. Well, it makes power. We're good on that front. Jesus Christ. Here we are with a running 350Z with a new engine in it. So last clip I talked basically about what was going down with the car and actually putting the engine back in, and first startup was in the last clip. I also drove it around my complex. Since then, it's been about a week maybe, and I have dailied the car since then, and it's been fine. It hasn't given me a single problem. The only issue kind of is that the oil temps are really low all the time, which is probably a mix of it being a new bigger oil cooler. And I think the thermostatic sandwich plate actually isn't closing, so it's actually staying open all the time, constantly letting air go through, or oil go through the cooler, which is kind of an issue just because it stays too cold. But on track, it shouldn't be an issue. Probably after I come back, when I do my first oil change, I'll pull that apart and see what it's like. Here we have our engine bay. So here, I'm gonna end up swapping this intake setup out because I don't like where this hose hits the hood in the back. So instead of cutting the hood and possibly messing up the seal right here with the engine bay, I will just end up putting on the new intake and then running that setup instead. But catch cans ran, they ran good. I like the way the lines are now. I haven't put the stripper on yet, but I know it'll be fine just because I've already looked at it. Engine, like I said, it's been good. Not a single drop of anything. No coolant, no oil, no power steering. Nothing has dropped out of this car since I put it all together. So it's all been holding up great. It's dry underneath the car, which is amazing. We have the new oil cooler sat here. I want to move it somewhere else, but that's the easiest place to put it for right now. And I do have a track day in about 5 days. So I'm trying to get it just good enough to run the track. As long as that's ducted or as long as it gets enough airflow, that should be no problem. I could focus on moving it elsewhere if the time comes. The intake setup's good. Everything else is fine. I'm trying to think of what else happened. So I did get the power steering line, threw that in. Also found some Burke test pipes at the junkyard again, which are, they were 2.25 inch. Earlier in one of my other videos, I think I mentioned that if I got 2.5 inch test pipes, I'd throw them on to make more power, but I mixed it up rather. The 2.25 test pipes give you more high-end horsepower than the 2.5 inch test pipes. So now it has 2.25s, lightweight crank or lightweight flywheel. And the clutch feels solid still. Flywheel feels great. Revs fast. This thing rev matches beautifully. Sounds great. This VQ is so healthy. There's not a single timing chain rattle on cold start. There's not a single knock, not a single tick. Like, it's mint. This engine's really good, actually. I'm really surprised about it. I'm really happy about it. If you guys also paid attention in one of the previous clips, I am now running 2050 VR1 just because I'm tired of having oil issues. So the oil pressure is great all the time. And it's just a really thick oil now, so it should be way more resilient to overheating and actually coming back to the point of no return. Along with the new oil in there, I can see my shadow, I threw in new Redline MT85 gear oil, GL4 of course because the brass synchros. So now it has new gear oil, new clutch, well, new flywheel setup, new engine oil, new oil cooler setup, new test pipes, new catch can setup. I'm trying to think of what else. That might be it. But yeah, it's not going to stay on these wheels. These are just the daily wheels. I have the RPF ones with the Bridgestone RE7RSs on them. Those will be going on for the track day. And I think as for now, this is going to cut the video. I mean, this is it. Engine swapped, car's done. I'm very happy about it. It's not fully done yet, but I think in the next video, I will actually film my journey taking this car to the track and seeing how it does on its first day back with the new engine setup. And I'll probably end up including some things on there. It's not, like I said, fully finished. I still need to put the under tray back on. Still need to mount a couple things, just make sure everything's legit. And then just give it a quick once over, just to make sure everything's going to be good to go. Because I'm driving this car up 5 hours to go hit the track, and then driving it 5 hours back down. So it should be great, and I'm very happy about it. Super stoked I was actually able to knock this out. I knocked it out way faster than I thought. Everything went way smoother than I thought it was going to. And I'm still profiting off that G. I don't know if I've already mentioned it, but I've already made about 60 bucks off of it. Along with the engine, I have Brembos, I have suspension stuff, I have so many things still off that car. So I made good money off of it and got a great experience. Basically got a free engine, a whole bunch of other stuff. I'll go ahead and cold start it right now for you, so you guys can hear it. Like I said, this thing starts up mint. It runs really good. So let me get the keys here. This thing is amazing. It starts right up. And if you guys listen to that, that's going to be the flywheel chatter. As soon as you're pressing the clutch, that goes away. So it is very suspect, but it's nothing to worry about. It's just the noise these have, I guess. It's really loud right here. I'll go ahead and show you. Turn down this music. Flywheel in, and it's clutch in, and the noise is gone. So nothing to worry about. Just lightweight flywheel things on these cars. I'm trying to think what else. Solid engine mounts are in it. They're great. Honestly, the engine's really smooth on these cars, so you really don't even feel the engine mounts. Obviously, there's some vibration, but it's nothing crazy. It's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's completely livable, so I'm definitely going to end up selling the Z1 poly mounts I have, make some money off those, and then just run the solids from now on, because, like I said, they're great. Also put some new door speakers in it. This is kind of off topic, but this stock Bose system always gives me a headache when I turn it up loud just because it doesn't sound good. So now it's got some JBL tweeters in the door sails here, and then a Scar 6.5 with a crossover in there. So the sound system actually sounds really good now, which is amazing because I am big on car audio stuff. I'm huge on the car sounding right music-wise, and I drive this car so far, kind of need it. So now I have a good sub setup and door speakers, and this thing rips. It sounds good. I'll go and give it a quick rev as well, just so you guys can kind of get an idea, I guess, for how it sounds. As you guys heard, this loud, it revs fast. It's great. It's gonna be a machine on the track. And come back to the front here, you'll hear nothing but normal stuff, just injector ticking and smooth drivetrain. This thing runs so quiet, so good, so smooth. Power comes in so good with it. I mean, it's great. It's amazing. So I'm gonna stop talking here. It's a 7-minute clip, and that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching this whole setup, this whole situation, and see you guys more with some more updates.